cry no more. Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on, you will always remember. Carry on, nothing equals the splendor. Now your life's no longer empty. Surely heaven waits for you. Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Gotta catch 'em all, all the Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all, we got Pokemon.
When we were forced to leave Inno and Lady Jane, the weeks of fun after the weeks of hell that Inno had predicted would come finally began.
Per il mondo, la mia sfera lancerò.
The ISEC activities went on because our OC were, as always, awesome. They made us work and have fun with Chinese children. And actually, the fact that it worked so well without Lady Jane made me realize one small thing. Simply, there were some differences in the points of view of how things were going. This is how we saw ourselves.
Similarities?
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Whereas the OCs probably saw us like. Yet what we actually were was more like. Sorry guys. In the remaining time in Ningbo, Yana's Chinese adoptive father wrote to us some cool Chinese characters in some cool Chinese paper.
Higher. Right, higher.
This is art, people! Then he also took us have dinner in a boat in a lake. Other cool thing.
Is that a video?
We started roaming around the city of Ningbo like we were just some common tourists and not people who worked there or not worked there. You know what I'm talking about.
This is a video.
And we found out that it was full of beautiful, beautiful places to visit. A city worth taking a trip for. And speaking of trips, most of us decided that since we were in China, it was worth trying and leave and see the rest of the country. So we started planning with our OCs, and finally we had to say goodbye to them too. We were 5 extraordinary people: Yana, the kid Gizem, Deborah, Mirna, Heidi, and me. And we left on a high-speed train through the fog of China towards Beijing.
Ed eccoci arrivati a Pechino.
The first thing we did was realize that we had reserved in the right hotel for the wrong month. But the cool-headed modern superhero found another place right away. Yeah, I'm that modest. Police and video cameras were kind of everywhere, as well as people bluntly spitting on the ground. And this song Little Apple, that was everywhere too. The one that you're listening in the background, it was everywhere, in each and every single store. You entered the store, you heard it, then you exited and you heard it in another store. That was an obsession for all of us. We were lodged not 1 kilometer away from Tiananmen Square, where in 1989 the government killed 2,500 people, mostly students, who wanted to build a different China. And it was a surreal place.
And now, the season finale of What's Up With That.
Complicated.
To enter the square, basically you need to pass through thorough controls. There are soldiers everywhere, but it's full of people anyway, each and every one of them controlled by the people inside that building. It looks like a police state, or not. Anyway, it's complicated.
Everything's so difficult in China. Complicated.
The heat was pretty much unbearable. But under the loving and protecting glance of Mao, we were able to enter the Forbidden City anyway. The biggest palace in the world. It was spectacular, really awesome. We would have enjoyed it even more if the sun hadn't been cooking us like boiled eggs. The Temple of Heaven was also a revelation. I went there with Mirna only for taxi reasons, and it was a very good place for her to apparently take selfies.
Say hi.
And for me it was a place where to buy hats and say very Lorenzo things that got Mirna absolutely crazy. Or sick of me, more likely.
You can recognize the enemies of the people because they are always annoying. So much annoying.
Bonjour. Me again.
By the way, we are lost. We missed the German, we missed the Italian, and we missed the Turkish, yeah, the kid. And yeah.
Keep going.
Why you're not here, Phil?
That is them.
enemies of the people.
Then I went away for a trip on my own, reading Harry Potter and stuff on the perfumed hills.
Ed ecco sulle colline profumate, decisamente meglio del centro città.
There was a porcelain pagoda. It was a quiet, peaceful place,
Pagoda di porcellana.
less polluted than the rest of Beijing. You know, it was on the hills, and they're called perfume for a reason. And there were Buddhist temples with incense and its fragrance. People praying in front of big Buddhas.
Beijing. In a wonderful day, no pollution at all. It's warm. It is.
Back in Beijing, there were Buddhist temples. They were still amazing. Yeah, and people praying with incense. Oh yeah, and big Buddhas. And did I mention incense and Buddhist temples? The thing is that even if these places were really, really amazing, they kind of became more and more repetitive. And soldiers kept being everywhere. The thing is that when we got to the Summer Palace, everything looked the same, and we were only thinking about the heat. So we went to the zoo. And then to the best part of our great trip.
Second, John,
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below,